One thing I talk to my kids and my family about a lot is privacy, especially in 2025 in the digital age when everything is online. And where can you have a reasonable expectation of privacy? And especially with my kids, when we talk about monitoring, my kids are a little bit older now, so I don't do as much monitoring. But in the past, when they were younger and I monitored their devices pretty heavily, then we would have conversations around what is privacy and what is a reasonable expectation of privacy. So, a few of the reasons that this comes up as well is first, those viral moments that we've all seen. So, the Coldplay kiss cam. Is there a reasonable expectation of privacy at a big venue like that? Or the Phillies Karen who stole the ball from the little kid. Is there a reasonable expectation of privacy when at a ball game? So, where do you have a reasonable expectation of privacy, and when should you expect not to have privacy? The other reason this comes up is all of those scams. You haven't seen them posted as much anymore, but when people post on Facebook, Facebook has no right to my pictures because I just posted this on my profile that Facebook doesn't have any rights to my pictures, even though I signed a document. I mean, I didn't sign it, but I approved the terms and conditions of having a Facebook profile saying that basically Facebook owns all of my images. So again, where can you have a reasonable expectation of privacy and where can you not? That's the subject of today's podcast. I hope you subscribe to the podcast and so you can get updates and let me know what topics you're interested in discussing, and I would love to talk about them. Again, today we are talking about privacy. So, do you have an expectation of privacy when you upload a video or a photo to a platform like Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, etc.? My answer is no. If you are uploading something to that platform, even if it's in a private message, and we'll get into the private messages in just a minute, but even if it's in a private message, you should not have any expectation of privacy for those photos or videos. You should also not have an expectation of ownership, because when you do upload that to a platform like Facebook, Instagram, they're the ones that actually own that content, and you agreed to their ownership of that content when you signed up for their terms and conditions. So they can take the video down, they can delete it, they can do whatever they want to that item because it is not yours anymore. It is theirs because you have uploaded it and shared it to that platform. So that's the first thing I love to talk to kids about is make sure that anything you upload is something that you're okay with getting shared, that you're okay with not having any privacy around that image or video. So the next place, okay, I'm going to private message somebody. I should have a reasonable expectation of privacy in this private message or direct message on a specific platform. Again, I'm telling you, no, you should not have a reasonable expectation of privacy in those situations either. So even if I am private messaging somebody, they could screenshot that message, send it to somebody I don't want them to see. They could forward your message along. They can do really whatever they want with that message, even if it's a Snapchat, even if it's just sent directly to them on an encrypted platform. So what are these encrypted like chat platforms, right? So we all know about Signal. Signal is an encrypted chat platform. I was recently watching a court case where they were talking about Signal in this like nefarious light, like it is this encrypted platform. Why would you need to talk to this lawyer on an encrypted platform? Not realizing that iMessage is also an encrypted platform. So they're making it sound like this big nefarious thing that you have to go to an encrypted platform when iMessage is also an encrypted platform. So encrypted just means that a man-in-the-middle attack isn't going to grab that data in transit. It's going to be encrypted end to end so that that only the sender and the receiver can get that message. Well, once they get that message, though, they can do whatever they want with that message. They can forward it, they can screenshot it, whatever. So again, private messaging and encrypted messaging is also not necessarily private. So another important thing to realize. So then, okay, Sarah, what about private browsing? If I go into incognito mode in my Chrome browser, nobody's ever going to know what I've been searching or downloading. Again, not necessarily true. So even if you are in incognito mode, what that really is doing is just basically stripping out all of the cookies and ads and things like that that would be targeted to you from that browser. It's not going to have your logins and things like that. So being in incognito mode is not necessarily a bad thing, but it's not going to hide your browsing history from, say, your internet service provider. Because if you are doing something illegal, your internet service provider will have that information, and the police can subpoena your internet service provider and get that information. We see all the time Google searches that are done or videos that have been downloaded by any predators or anything like that. So they can trace those back to you even if you're in incognito mode. So again, don't give yourself a false sense of privacy when in incognito mode. It's only going to kind of strip out those personalized ads and those cookies so that websites load maybe even a little slower and things like that, because it's just stripped out of all of that personal data. But it doesn't mean that personal data isn't flowing through your network. So then you say, well, Sarah, what if I'm connected to a VPN? Then my internet service provider doesn't know what I'm doing because I'm connected to this VPN. Again, I'm going to say wrong. If you saw recently the Netflix documentary called Unknown Number, where I won't spoil the ending for you, but somebody is cyber stalking and bullying a couple of teenage kids, and they find this person through their IP address, even though they're connecting to VPNs, even though they are using different apps to hide their actual phone number. They were able to trace everything back to the same IP address because that is where the original connection was happening from. So even if you connect to a VPN, it can still get back to you. So again, I have a whole podcast episode about VPNs and what they are and kind of what they aren't. VPN stands for Virtual Private Network. Again, so Sarah, it says private in the name. Of course it's going to be private. Not necessarily. Again, it's just going to basically take your device and put it on a different network. So let's say I'm gaming here. Well, if I connect to a VPN first, the IP address that's coming from my house is going to show something different because now my device is technically on a different network. But they can subpoena the VPN company and get that original IP address from you because you are still using your regular internet to connect to that VPN. So while it can hide your actual location and your actual address from, Joe Schmo down the street, it's not going to hide you from the police. So I don't have privacy if I upload a picture or video to any social platform. I don't even own that content. I don't have privacy when I'm private messaging somebody, direct messaging somebody. I don't have privacy when I am using a private browser. I don't have privacy when I am connected to a VPN. Sarah, where can I have some privacy from the online world? Well, the bad news is not very many places. So what is private? An in-person conversation where you leave your phones outside and you're in a soundproof booth. You can have a reasonable expectation of privacy in that situation. If you want to keep a handwritten journal or diary, again, you could have a reasonable expectation of privacy on that hand journal, but you might want to lock it up or something like that. Fortunately, everybody has a phone. Everybody has a camera right in their back pocket. If you're going to be in public, having an affair like at the Coldplay concert. You're going to bully some dad into giving you their kids home run baseball. You're going to cyber stalk your sorry, not going to spoil the ending of Unknown Number. Definitely go check out Netflix's Unknown Number. But if you're going to cyber stalk somebody, then you don't have a reasonable expectation of privacy in those situations. So be careful out there. Make sure you're not acting like a fool out in public, because somebody absolutely will get it on camera and you will absolutely go viral for that behavior. So good luck out there, and we will see you in the next one.